Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. Today, we are going to be chatting with Erin Dillon. I'm so excited to have Erin here. Erin is the Director of Creative Services at Songtradr, Tradr being Tradr. And she has been in the music industry for over a decade, and she's traveled all over the place speaking on panels about music supervision, which she did for the last 6 years at Creative Control Entertainment. So we are really excited to talk to her about curation, her job as the curation team head at Songtradr, and what it takes to, have a really great licensing catalog, and her extensive background in music licensing and excitement for discovering new music keeps her endlessly interested in the music community. So we are so happy to have you. This sounds like a perfect conversation to be at right now. So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So I just want to start off before I toss this to everybody else that's on the call right now, Daryl, Gary, and Paul, is I want to ask you what sort of got you into music supervision? What was that path for you? What are maybe 3 highlights that were sort of turning points in your career as a music supervisor?
Well, I was obsessed with soundtracks. That was really, as a kid, just one of the first ways that I started hearing music and loving music and really having that emotional connection when seen in a movie, and music that's with it pairs so well together. And so I became crazy about soundtracks, loved, like the Big Lebowski soundtrack and the Royal Tenenbaum soundtrack and just so many. And that kind of became my thing. I would just spend all my money at Tower Records buying CDs. And so I also played the piano from the age of 5. So music influenced my life from an early age, from the performance level as well. So, it just felt like my path was to remain in music. So I did some research and kind of found out who is the person that puts the soundtrack together and gets to be the one helping make that decision about putting a song in a movie. And I found out it was this thing called music supervisors. So I researched anybody that I could find and sort of looked for ways to intern or just kind of follow around anybody who would let me learn about the process. So I went away to San Diego for college. And when I would come home in summers in between school, I started interning with a DJ and music supervisor named Liza Richardson, who's here in Los Angeles. And my dad actually made the introductions through someone he knew. So I was able to work with her and just sort of help her file her papers or do whatever I could just to sort of be around and start to learn the hang of this. Then I finished in school. I was also a DJ at college at the college radio station. So that was fun. And when I finished, I graduated with an English degree, believe it or not. But it was kind of, which path do I go try and be a teacher, or do I go down music and see what I can make happen in that world? So I followed music. I looked at all my experience and credits and said, yeah, music is the way to go. I'm going to pursue this thing. So I went to a couple mixers when I was back in town, and Liza had introduced me to some other music supervisors, and she didn't hire me because she already had an assistant. But she connected me with some people at a company called Format, which they do all the Marvel movies now, music supervision, among many other great, cool projects. So I met them and interned there. And from there, they turned me on to an assistant job that was opening up at DreamWorks. in the music department. So I went and interviewed and got that job. And that was really when my first job, paying job in music came to be. And I worked there for almost a year. And then the whole music department was let go, and they just didn't need a music department anymore for whatever reason. And started looking for another job and found Joel C. High's company, Creative Control, and interviewed at a couple different places and ended up landing there. And I started as a coordinator, and quickly he kind of just threw stuff at me and let me run with it and sink or swim. And so I did very well there and enjoyed my time with him, and became a music supervisor, really kind of hit the ground running there. It was great. So
Awesome.
Then a little over a year ago, I was just ready to move on and wanted to sort of spread my wings and see what else was out there. That's when I came to Songtradr.
So I love that story. I think that everyone's story is different. And I always gravitated towards the stories where people are just sort of, things kind of just happened. And the reason they happen is just because you were curious. So yeah. I'm always saying, like, follow your curiosity, not like, I hate when people are like, follow your passion. It's like, if I knew what the passion was, like, I would follow it right now. But sometimes it's just like, oh, I like this thing. Like, where would it go? I like this thing. Where would it go? And that leads to another. I actually love that in, is it Elizabeth Gilbert's new book, The Big Magic, where she mentions, like, she couldn't come up with anything to write, and she had this curiosity around gardening. So instead of like trying to write the next great novel, she just like got into gardening for 6 months, and then she got really interested in a particular flower, and then it took her to like England or something, where she was trying to find the name of the flower. And anyway, that ended up being like the basis for her next book, which was like a bestseller.
That's so cool.
So it's that I hear that in your story too. You're like, well, it's like, oh, this is a thing. And then it sort of turns into this wonderful career path. So I love it.
Thanks.
Well, I have so many questions for you, but I want to see what these guys have, because they're sort of in the trenches right now, and they're representing all sorts of different musicians, bands and composers and label owners, and they're all wearing multiple hats like we all do. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to see, Paul, do you have any questions for Erin? If you're just listening, that's cool. We'll come back to you. We'll do like a round robin thing.
Can you come back?
Sure.
Thanks.
Gary, do you have any questions right off the bat for Erin?
Of course. Hi, Erin. Thank you for being here. I was wondering, what type of outreach does Songtradr do to actually get to the market? Do you let them come to you, or do you outreach to them? What type of?
We do outreach. We have, Facebook ads and ads all over the internet, but I have a pretty extensive contact list in the film and TV world, because that's where I came from. So that sort of became my department. I go after clients and look for opportunities there. And we have several other salespeople here in the office that do focus on advertising and agencies and commercials. And so we have different people working on different avenues.
Yeah, that's a good question. And, we should probably set this up. Songtradr, Songtradr.com is a site where musicians, and I recently spent a lot of time uploading all of my music. You can categorize it. Yeah, I'm on there. That was another really great intern job. But you tag all your music, you can put your lyrics in, beats per minute, all the stuff that someone else would be searching for. Like, we need a mid-tempo song that uses the word clouds or something. So you get to put all of that in. So I just uploaded all that music. And then what you get is you also get to see who's looking for music. So there's, when you go to your homepage on the dashboard, you see how many people played your music, and maybe it's fans, maybe it's other musicians, but there's also jobs, people that are posting like, hey, we need this kind of song for a commercial or for, so you get to see the commercials.
Our opportunities on what we call like a wanted listing, like, seeking whatever kind of music. We post all of those opportunities there, which you can submit to as an artist. And you can also, create your own playlist. If you know somebody that's looking for music, you don't have to wait for us. You can send it out yourself. So it's a cool feature.
Yeah, It's really cool. I have scheduled into my calendar as a recurring event every week to go check out all the different opportunities on the wanted list and submit to as many that are applicable. And you can really see, okay, am I going to fit for this? You don't want to apply if you're not fit. And it doesn't cost you anything to send in. I think you get 5 songs per opportunity or something. So you can't give them your whole library, but you need to be, selective about it. So that's what Songtradr is for those of you who don't know. But it is free for artists. So you should go sign up and start uploading. I think they're adding new features every day. I was talking to Zach at the SCAP Expo and I was like, I took forever to do this. He's like, oh, now there's a bulk uploader. I was like, oh, of course there is. So cool. And then we are now talking to Erin, who is the creative director and with a music supervision background that comes in really handy when you have all of this music at your fingertips. So thank you, Gary, for that first question. And I just wanted to set everyone up a little bit better here. So Daryl, go ahead. So who chooses when you do upload those to your wanted list? What is the filtering process for those? How do they get channeled from there?
So if you upload tracks, it all comes to me and I listen to all of the submissions. And from there, I determine if they need a playlist of 10 options, then I will whittle that down and narrow it down until we've got what I believe to be the 5 best. So it really is me. I'm doing all of the curating, and when I have a lot of searches and a lot of, different needs, then sometimes, I have other people that will put together a playlist and I'll always review it. But yeah, it's just me, good old me, sitting here selecting the tracks.
That's pretty cool. So when I see that a job has 500 songs submitted, they're not listening to all 500. You are. Yeah,
for the most part, it's probably not going to be manageable as we continue to grow for me to be the only one doing that. So we're hoping to get to a point where we're scaled with a big team that can, basically do what I do. But ultimately, since I'm sort of the head of the curation department, maybe I'll curate the curation or continue that way as we grow.
Got it. Very cool. Daryl, do you have any questions for Erin?
Yeah, absolutely. Just based on what we are just talking about, I want to ask her, what do you look for when you are listening to different tracks and so forth? Is there a criteria? I mean, like, what do you look for when you're seeking out what you're looking for?
Well, it really depends on what the search needs. So the music supervisor, for instance, will send me a brief of what they need. And when I go through those submissions, I just use my ear and my gut, and I try to find what I think is most matches the description from the brief. And certainly always looking for the highest quality. Almost never going to use explicit tracks. So it's important I always tell musicians, have clean versions if you have an explicit track. And also a lot of things that determine if I'll pick a song is if you have an instrumental track available as well, which if it is, you can put it up on the site. So I'll go to the track page, and if there's not an instrumental, I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant unless it's a really, really great song. It's always important for the instrumentals to be available if the track has lyrics, because when you send it to editorial, the editor is going to maybe need to cut in and out and make sure the song plays over dialogue, so they'll need the instrumental in order to do that. So that's always a big one that can sometimes make or break if I'm going to use the song.
Awesome.
Thank you. One other question. Can someone purchase a song on Songtradr?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you as the artist can decide to set your own pricing or to have it listed without any price, so that you will get an email saying, so someone wants to license your song for their TV show and they're offering you $1,000, you accept. And if there is ever any kind of an offer made, you'll always hear from us, or someone will get in touch with you and let you know that there's an interest in using the track. So you can buy songs right on the site, which is really easy, and kind of the way it's going, the forward thinking. It's like somebody needs it quickly, they can go license it, get a contract, and then pay for it with a credit card, just like Amazon or an eBay marketplace. So yeah, that's a really, really, I think, forward thinking feature of our site as well.
Okay.
But it's not purchasing as a fan. It's not a fan site. It is a site for music supervisors working on media projects.
That's
correct?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Paul, do you now have a question?
Yes. So say there's a song I have 2 songs that are in a publisher's catalog, and they've been there for a year and nothing's happened with them. Now, if I were to submit them into Songtradr and somebody liked it, would they be able to work with the publisher? Like, obviously the publisher had to be notified, or nothing like that?
Yeah, we ran into that issue recently where one of our artists uploaded tracks that were exclusive with a different publisher, and they already agreed to it, so they had to work it out with their publisher. But typically, if you have an exclusive deal, they're not going to be okay with you putting your music elsewhere, having it basically pitched by other people,
Okay.
So I would advise against that. If you aren't happy with that place, then you can you can maybe remove your songs, but then upload them to our site. But yeah, you do run the risk of, you have to be, we're non-exclusive, but your tracks should be as well.
Okay.
And that also runs the risk of sort of defeating the purpose, so to speak, if one of the main reasons why a music supervisor would come to Songtradr is because it's assumed that it would be sort of a quick process. They don't want all that red tape because they could just go to a publisher and then have to deal with all the...
Exactly.
Yeah. So, one of the things we talk about in this course all the time is like, if you want something to happen, how can you make it really easy for that person on the other end of the transaction or agreement or whatever? So in that case, it would probably complicate things, and then it's not going to help anything.
Yeah,
so
right. Makes it more difficult for everybody.
We will be back next week with more from Erin Dillon of Songtradr, so stay tuned. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast was provided by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, and it was written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Auck. If you're interested to find out more about my own composing and songwriting projects, go to cbemusic.com. If you're a musician looking to really get some results that you're psyched about in your music career, then head to inthekeyofsuccess.com, where I've created a bunch of different kinds of resources just for you. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.